Peter, what was the emotion like for you when you pressed send for the last time on your last column for Football Morning in America?
I don't know. I didn't really have much of any. I've known this day was coming for a while. I don't consider myself a particularly emotional person when it comes to personal stuff like that. I've probably gotten more emotional reading some of the things about me over the last few days and saying, wow, that's awful nice of people. But I don't know, Susie. I always looked at my job like do the absolute best you can and then wake up the next morning and do the best you can on whatever is next. As of right now, I just have no idea what's next. And I'm kind of happy about that. I'm happy that I've got nothing to do for a while.
Who sent in a letter of appreciation that surprised you the most?
You know, I'm just literally like today. Today is Thursday, and I'm just going through. Like I missed it the first like 24 hours. I was really kind of tied up, but I missed a lot of the stuff. But one of the things that came in right away, like came in Monday, that I saw that I really was happy with, and I don't know why. I don't know Jared Goff all that well. But Jared Goff wrote me a really nice, really kind of sweet note. And basically, thanks for being fair. And, I really, really appreciated that. I don't know why. I mean, I've heard from Brady and Peyton and a bunch of coaches and GMs and all that. But for some reason, Jared Goff taking time to write a fairly lengthy note was just really, really nice. And I'm highly appreciative of him doing that.
Who might have been your favorite player to deal with over your career?
Well, I would say early on, when I covered the New York Giants, I really loved dealing with Phil Simms and Harry Carson. They were two just really, really good people, very honest, told you everything that they could tell you about the team and about the game. And, as time went on, I had some memorable moments with Brett Favre. That was cool. I would say, in recent years, Brady and Manning have really been great to deal with. And one thing I really appreciate about Brady is long after the time that he could even think that I could do anything for him, he would always give me time. And I mean, a week after the Patriots beat Atlanta and came back in the Super Bowl from 28-3 down, I spent almost 2 hours with him in a ski resort in Montana. And just, he was in no hurry to leave. He just wanted to talk about the game and his life. And I was, those are the kind of things that you'll remember for a long time.
I mean, I have to ask, is he a good skier?
I don't have any idea. I showed up at about noon and he was just coming off the slopes, but he didn't have a broken leg. So he must've been good. And the mountain was pretty steep. So he must've been pretty good. How could Tom Brady be bad at anything?
I have a feeling, right? Can you just imagine what Bob Kraft's face must have been like if he thought he was skiing bumps somewhere? Or back in the day, and you have to figure that he was doing whatever he wanted to do. What story are you most proudest of?
Susie, there have been a few of them, but I think probably one of the stories that I'm really, really proud of is I did this in 2013, a week in the life of an officiating crew. And because basically the officiating crews in the NFL are behind an iron curtain. You don't get to actually be with them or talk to them or see how they live. And what was so educational about that, I was with the referee, Gene Steratore, in his house in Pennsylvania when the grades from the previous Sunday's game came in. And he did not have a good game, according to the graders. And when he stood up from the computer, took a deep breath, he just walked away and he just said, well, there goes the Super Bowl. I mean, he'd been having a really good year. But it wasn't only being with the referee. I went to the back judge's home, Dino Paganelli in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and sat in on a day of him teaching high school AP social studies. And it was, it's just so cool to see that the officials, at least as of now, have other lives. And so I was with them, and then I was with them before and after the game that weekend, Ravens-Bears at Soldier Field. And that was such a great education because everything I was seeing was brand new.
What's been maybe the best moment of your career where you said, where you realized that you were special, that you had an impact? What story might it have been?
I think it might have been the fact that, this was, 28 years ago. Brett Favre was addicted to Vicodin, and he was going into rehab the next day, and I got him on the phone the previous night. He was leaving crack of dawn to report to rehab in Topeka, Kansas, and he told me everything. I mean, he almost died in this off season. And he told me the whole story, including really one of the most memorable things I've ever heard an athlete utter, which is essentially, I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but it was essentially, everybody looks at me and they say, oh my God, I'd love to be Brett Favre. But would they really love to be Brett Favre? Would they love to be going into rehab tomorrow? Would they love to be addicted to Vicodin? I don't think anybody would really love to be Brett Favre if they knew what it took to be Brett Favre. So that's one I'll always remember. And then I think, Suzy, I've told this story a couple of times this week, that I was 32 years old and I was covering a game my first year at SI. Eagles were hosting the 49ers, and theoretically I wasn't supposed to write that day, but Joe Montana threw 4 touchdown passes in the last 14 minutes. And I went from probably not writing the game to writing the cover that week with one of Montana's iconic covers that said on the front, Joltin' Joe. And to me, that was an incredible memory for me because I was 1 year removed from covering the New York Giants for a paper on Long Island. I was 10 years removed from sitting in class at Ohio University. And that something like that happens and you think to yourself, time to grow up, kid. You're not a kid anymore. And so that was a memorable day also.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.